Hello my friends, Dave Schramm here of ShrammGuitars.com, and today we're going to take a look at how I put the binding and purfling on my guitar bodies. Let's go check it out. So today I'm going to be putting the binding and purfling on this bird's eye maple flamenco guitar that I'm building. Now the outer part, that's this part here, this is called the binding. The purfling is the colored lines or veneers that we use. So this, the rosewood part here, is the binding. This is the purfling. Okay. This is going to be the purfling that's going to go on the inside here. Okay. And the binding will be on the outside. The binding binds the guitar. Okay, so I've already measured this. The height of this that I want is about 200 thousandths, and the width, the thickness of these veneers and the binding is 130 thousandths. So I've already scored the line around the edge here and down here on the side of the guitar. And for those, to do that, these are LMI, which is no longer in business, Grammels or Grammeels, however you want to say it. These I bought probably in the 1990s. Really good. Who knows, maybe Stu Mac will produce these, or maybe they already have something like this. But I use one. This one is for scoring this edge here, and then this other one is for scoring, let's get a camera angle here, this line here on there. So I score that so that I don't get any chip out when I use this router jig here. This is a Stu Mac item here. They're with the LMI bearing sets. So one of these days I'm going to get the Stu Mac ones, since LMI no longer makes these sets of different bearings, to get the different widths. So I adjust the depth of cut by how far this goes in and out here. The bearing is going to control the thickness or the width of the cut this way. Okay? And then this is going to go up on here. Here's my cradle, and you're going to see me make the first cut. Since I want 130 thousandths, I'm going to go, first cut's going to be 80, and then I'm going to do 130. So I'll do it twice. You'll see that in the upcoming segment. All right, so here is the cut. You can see my score line. I still have a little bit to go. So my second pass is going to be with the smaller bearing, which will cut in more and get to right to the line that I want there. Now I didn't go all the way to this part here, which you'll see why after I've cut both sides. Then you'll see how I cut this part on each one. Okay, now the edges are all trimmed for my binding and purfling. Now what I'm going to do here, because I'm going to do a miter at this point, I haven't routed that out. I want the thickness of the veneer to come out here so that I can miter those edges of the perimeter binding and purfling and this back strip purfling. So what I do is I have two pieces of veneer here. I've taped it on. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through with the router, and I'm going to route this, and now it'll come out towards us that amount. And then it's less work with chisels trying to fit that. And I'm going to do that on the tail end. This is the neck right here, but I'm gonna do it on the tail, on the soundboard, and the back part. So I almost forgot, on the tail end, I have to do it on the top and the bottom with the veneers. On the other part you saw me do, I didn't need to do that because I don't have a double miter that I have to do. So now I'm going to cut this one. So here is the edge after doing all that routing. You can see how it's a little proud there of this part here. So now I'm going to take the Gremel, this tool here, and I'm going to cut this out and also use some chisels to get that end all leveled out. So I did this side already. Now I'm going to do this one. So one way I like to approach it is, you've got a little bit of the cut right here, and I'm just going to get some of this cut out. So I start with that part. And then what I like to do, even though I took the Gremel to that, this tool here, let's see, I'll show you. I don't know how well it's going to show up in the, my hand might be covering it up. That kind of marks my line. I'm going to take this chisel here, kind of pare away at it like that. Other one here. Here we go. I'm going right up to this part right here, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to bevel that. I'm going to show you how I do that so you can see how I get a nice mitered edge there. Okay. All right, so now I've got that. I'll clean this up with a file here. Usually I'd be standing on that side, but because the camera's there, I'm trying to do this so that you can see what I'm doing. So I'm kind of holding this weird. Okay. So I'm just kind of cleaning it up, not trying to remove a lot. And I might fine tune that a little bit more when I actually start fitting the bindings and purflings. And that's just a little bit of a burn mark there. Not that big of a deal. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to do that on the other edge here. This one I have to do twice. I have to do it here, and then I have to do it at the top edge there too, because there's a miter I have to do here and here on that back edge. So let's Flip the guitar over. So I have to do this top edge and this one here. I'm just checking with the Grandma to make sure I got the right depth of cut here. Lightly marking the edge and let the chisels do the rest of the work there. Okay, so now I got to do the top part here too. So, yeah. Working right to that line. Don't try to take off too much. There we go, it's getting there. So I'm slicing this way instead of pushing, because if you push, you might go too far and you might damage that part there. Take your time on this part, because doing this right makes a big difference in how it's going to look. So I'm just sneaking up on that purfling line. Okay, so it's going to take me a little bit of time to do this, but that's basically how I do it. So I'm going to do that on both sides here, and then I'm going to show you how I do the miter. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the miter joint, and my chisel, you can see it's kind of shiny there. I hope this is showing up. I can't see the camera. But what I'm doing is I'm looking for the mirror image, the image of this at a 45-degree angle. And then I'm going to cut this. Just like that. See that 45? I'm going to do that on all the edges. Okay, now that the channel has been cut, I've fitted the binding and purfling, and it's all taped in place here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some super glue and I'm going to wick it into the gaps here and then peel the tape off and clean it up, and then I'll have this top done. So I take my pipette of super glue, and now just put a little bit in here and let it wick in. And I'm going to do this around the whole guitar. You got to make sure your test fit, everything is perfect. Then where the tape is, I'm going to remove that and I'll add some super glue in there as well. Then I'll take some glue boost. Then I'll move on to the next section. On the waist, I'll use a clamp just to make sure it's nice and tight. All right, we now have the top completed. Now I just gotta do some cleanup. And then I'm gonna do the back. Okay, I've now fitted the back binding and purfling. It's all taped up, getting ready to go. So now I'm just gonna take my CA glue and I'm gonna run it in there and glue on the back binding and purfling. All right, here we go. We have the back and the soundboard. Binding and purfling installed. On this bird's eye maple flamenco guitar that I'm building. You can try that super glue method. Maybe it works for you, maybe it doesn't. But anyway, it's just an alternative to how you can put the binding and purfling on your guitars. Well, here it is, all bound. Next step is to put the neck on. So really appreciate you watching this video. Hope you got something out of it. And until next time, have a great day. Bye.